It's time, everyone, for the Continental Cup Quarterfinal Selection Show. Tony Schiavone along with Tony Khan. And Tony, we had 8 matches beginning on August 8th. And just tremendous wrestling as we expected, but really succeeding what we even thought.
Yes, absolutely. I totally agree, Tony. And you were there firsthand to witness all these matches.
Right.
And when you have a championship like the Continental title that is so closely identified with this fantastic tournament we built in the wintertime, the Continental Classic, I wanted the fans to have something to look forward to in the summertime with different stakes, a different kind of competition, but still the Continental title on the line. And now the winner of this competition will take home the first ever Continental Cup. And it's been fantastic action in the first round. 8 matches, no outside interference, what you come to expect from the kind of quality Continental wrestling that AEW puts on. And I'm really proud of what we did in the first round.
Should be.
Let's talk about these great results from these fantastic matches across last week on Collision and Dynamite.
It all began on Saturday, August 8th in Colorado Springs, live on TNT on AEW Collision. Claudio Castagnoli defeats Ace Austin. For Claudio, a measure of revenge after the week before the Bang Bang Gang had upset the Death Riders. Claudio Castagnoli gets the big win for the Death Riders in the opening round match. Orange Cassidy defeats Matt Sydal. Orange Cassidy continues to be one of the top wrestlers in AEW. Matt Sydal returning from an injury. Orange Cassidy moves on. The first ever Continental Champion, Eddie Kingston, who won the very first Continental Classic, comes back to defeat Jake Doyle of the Don Callis family on Collision on Saturday, August 8th. The tournament continued this past Wednesday on AEW Dynamite live from Las Vegas. Switchblade Jay White defeated David Finlay. Since his return at Forbidden Door, Switchblade Jay White has been gunning for David Finlay. And then after the double chain match at Redemption, this was redemption for Switchblade Jay White to defeat Finlay and move on in the first round. And then the main event on Dynamite, a match that we'll never forget. What a hard-hitting physical matchup. Continental Champion Jon Moxley defeats Jungle Jack Perry in a bloody one-on-one matchup. Collision this past Saturday in Las Vegas, where CMLL World Heavyweight Champion Hechicero defeated his stablemate of the Don Callis family, Brian Cage. The wizardry of Hechicero overcame the machine, Brian Cage. Hechicero advances. And then my broadcast partner, Nigel McGuinness, a very emotional win over Katsuyori Shibata in a match we never thought we would see. The first time ever these two men had met. A great technical wrestling match. Nigel McGuinness moves on in the first round. And then, speaking of stablemates, members of the conglomeration, Kyle O'Reilly defeats Roderick Strong in an incredible main event on Collision. Kyle O'Reilly moves on to the next round of the Continental Classic. Well, that's a recap of what happened, Tony. What a week it was. 8 great matches to start this tournament.
Absolutely, Tony. It was fantastic action. I thought that the tournament started very strong and it ended very strong, I thought, as well, for the first round of action. Incredible matches, and a couple great matches to end Collision with Roderick Strong versus Kyle O'Reilly. Incredible main event.
You're not kidding.
Quarterfinal Kyle.
Yeah.
And now we've also got Nigel McGuinness advancing over Katsuyori Shibata. In my opinion, 2 of the greatest technical wrestlers of all time. They had a fantastic wrestling match, and that's what this tournament's all about. Nigel McGuinness moved on, but we saw Nigel McGuinness suffered an injury, Tony.
Right, we talked about that, yeah.
And you mentioned that on Collision.
Right.
In the days since Nigel McGuinness has really been pushing, I know Nigel wants to continue and compete in the tournament.
All right.
Let's hear some words from Nigel McGuinness himself right now.
Okay.
So, they have asked me for an update, and, well, here it is. X-rays didn't show any break or fracture. That doesn't mean it doesn't hurt like hell. Different man, a smarter man, more prudent man, might say, now's the time to bow out. No way you're going to be 100%. Clearly I'm not that man. there's something about being a pro wrestler that we all share. That little bit of crazy. Or in some cases, a little bit of crazy. And people might be waiting for that rah-rah speech. How nothing's going to stop me getting to Wembley Stadium. But the reality is there's plenty of things that can stop me getting to Wembley Stadium. The ankle, my opponent, even the good Lord himself. But I can tell you what won't stop me. Fear. I spent a good portion of my career in pain. And in a way, I kind of feel like I did back then. But in another way, this feels very different. I know this is the end of my career. And as such, this could be the last chance I get to compete in the Continental Cup. You know, it's funny. When we started out with this, I said, better a lion for a day than a lamb for a lifetime. I had no idea how true that would prove. Because I am afraid. But not too afraid to stop. Someone else is going to have to stop me. And I can promise whoever I face next, I will claw and bite and use every legal advantage to get past you and get one step closer to the hallowed grounds of Wembley Stadium, where 34 years ago I realised I would be a pro wrestler.
Comments from Nigel McGuinness. You know, I've spent a lot of time with Nigel, and I've talked with him, and I know from talking with him how much this tournament means to him, to not only a chance to become the Continental Champion, but to win the Continental Cup, and a chance to go to London and wrestle for this. It's a very emotional time for him, I understand, but I know he's given it everything he has, and it's really important to him.
It is very important to Nigel, and Nigel wants to continue in this competition, and we're going to clear him to continue. The doctors were very concerned that Nigel should not be wrestling, but given the stakes and given how adamant he was that he wants to continue, Nigel will continue in the competition. So we've got the quarterfinal draw here today. We're going to announce the quarterfinal matches for this week on Dynamite and Collision, and Nigel, part of that draw.
Okay.
And we'll kick off right there. Nigel McGuinness with that injured leg after a very impressive win against one of the great technical wrestlers in the world, Katsuyori Shibata. It's all tough matches. These are all very tough competitors, but he's drawn somebody that's a very challenging matchup, especially under the circumstances. And you talk about wizardry, the technical wizardry of Hechicero.
Whoa.
And the submission style wrestling of Hechicero, all the ways he knows to work and manipulate joints and body parts.
Right.
Nigel McGuinness already coming into this injured. That's a very challenging matchup, but it's a matchup I can't wait to see this Wednesday night on Dynamite. Nigel McGuinness versus Hechicero.
What an incredible matchup that's going to be, Nigel McGuinness and Hechicero, and that's going to be Wednesday on Dynamite. What else do we have on Dynamite coming up this Wednesday?
We have another massive matchup. Two of the favorites in the tournament. Two men who went to the semifinals of the first ever Continental Classic, and one man who is the reigning Continental Champion, and a matchup that has been in the making for a very long time. The Continental Champion, Jon Moxley, versus Switchblade Jay White.
Wow. This match against Jon Moxley is the match that Jay White wanted, as we hear in these comments.
Welcome to the Bang Bang Lounge.
David Finlay, you did exactly what you do best.
And you dogs, you had your fun frolicking around in the park, but fate catches up with us all, doesn't it, David? See, now your Continental Cup, it is done. It is over. So you and Clark can go back to burying your noses in each other's buttholes.
Yeah, right in your buttholes.
But me, my Continental Cup continues. And it just so happens that a little old Lord Large Squad over here...
Lord Large Squad?
Yeah. He informed me that one Jon Moxley has also made it through to the next round of the Continental Cup. Now, where will we end up? Nobody knows, but if it plays out the way I believe it to be written, Moxley, our paths are gonna cross, and that's where your path ends. But mine continues on to London. Mine continues on to Wembley. Mine continues on to All In, to the final of the Continental Cup, where I will be crowned the new Continental Champion of AEW. And if you, Moxley, or whoever else, are not down with that, the Bang Bang Gang and my throne, we got 2 words for you. Guns up!
If Jon Moxley wants to hold on to that Continental Championship, this is going to be a very, very tough match for him to do so.
Absolutely. It's going to be an incredible matchup. Right. I can't wait for that. And that's just hours away. Jon Moxley, the Continental Champion, versus Switchblade Jay White this week in Baltimore on Wednesday Night Dynamite, live on TBS and HBO Max.
2 great matches. And now the tournament moves on for the other 2 matches in the quarterfinals. And that'll be this coming Saturday, live on TNT from Reading, Pennsylvania on Collision. What 2 matches do we have?
We've got huge matches coming this Saturday to AEW Collision, talking about the Continental Cup. And speaking of people who've held the Continental Championship, the first ever Continental Champion, Eddie Kingston, is going to step into the ring with one of his all-time greatest rivals. We are going to see such a hard-hitting match when Eddie Kingston steps into the ring with Claudio Castagnoli of the Death Riders. Wow. Anytime Eddie and Claudio are anywhere in the vicinity of each other, you know there's going to be a big-time fight, and there'll be no outside interference. This is just going to be a great one-on-one match, and I cannot wait for Eddie versus Claudio on Collision this Saturday.
Just because I won doesn't mean the hard work stops. Surround yourself with people that push you to be better. But I'm not here to preach. The Continental Cup gehört uns, Death Riders, against the world.
I've been away too long. Granted, my own doing. That's for you guys to wonder and for me to know. Okay? But I missed every single one of you fans. And I'm not saying that being the corny, hooray. Nah, man. I missed every single one of you because you guys give me energy. You guys give me energy to keep fighting when I don't want to. All those people that I met when I was doing the independents, when I was off TV, coming up to me, when are you getting back on, Eddie? Eddie, we need to see you back on. And I told each and every one of them, you inspire me. They didn't believe me. Well, this is for all of y'all that didn't believe me. I'm the one who made the phone call to Tony Khan. And I said, you put me in this tournament. I don't care what it is, what it's called. You put me in it. Because I want that. I want to be that champion. I want to be the first one. Just like I was the first Continental champ, I want to be the first Continental Cup champion. And it's not for me, folks. It's not for me. Other things will be. I ain't going to lie. I'm not perfect. I'm going to be selfish later. Trust me. But this tournament, this cup, is for every single person that I met and all the promotions that I worked for who came up to me and said, I can't wait to see you back on TV, Eddie. This is all for you. I fight for you in this tournament for you.
You mentioned they know each other quite well. I can't wait to call that match. I can tell you that. Eddie Kingston and Claudio Castagnoli. So we have one more match now on Collision this Saturday, live on TNT in the second round.
Well, there's 2 names left in the helmet, and we saw them both compete this past week on Collision. They're going to step into the ring against each other. And after Kyle O'Reilly picked up a huge win over his partner in the conglomeration, Roderick Strong, this week, the luck of the draw has it, it will be Orange Cassidy versus Kyle O'Reilly.
How about that?
And we saw the 2 of them at the end of the show. They realized this would be a distinct possibility that they could potentially get drawn against each other. It's happened. It will be Orange Cassidy versus Kyle O'Reilly in the quarterfinals of the Continental Challenge Cup. What great matches we have this week across Dynamite and Collision. Tell them more about where we can watch the shows, when we can watch the shows. Tony, I can't wait for this big week.
Okay, Tony, so it's the quarterfinals of the Continental Challenge Cup, and it all begins this coming Wednesday. We're only 48 hours away when we're in Baltimore live on TBS and AEW Dynamite. And then, of course, the final two matches of the quarterfinals will be this coming Saturday when we are in Reading, Pennsylvania, live on TNT for AEW Collision. The winners now will move on to Glasgow for the semifinals. And, of course, the championship will be in Wembley on August 30th at All In. And, of course, the winner will win the Continental Cup and will be crowned the Continental Champion.
Absolutely. I can't wait for that final at Wembley Stadium. And we've got big matches coming up this week in Baltimore and Reading.
Right.
We head to Glasgow next week. And Tony, it's really fun having this kind of continental competition in the summertime.
Right.
We don't have to wait until the holidays to see some great one-on-one wrestling action and this great competition, but it's a very different style of tournament.
Of course.
And hopefully it becomes a fun summertime tradition, a great complement to the beautiful wintertime tradition we built with the Continental Classic. I look forward to that all year, and hopefully people will look forward to the Continental Cup after that tremendous first round of action.
Sure.
I'm really looking forward to some exciting quarterfinals coming up this week on Dynamite and Collision. And like you said, it all starts hours from now on Wednesday Night Dynamite, this Wednesday in Baltimore.
And fans, we look forward to having you with us on Wednesday. The Continental Challenge Cup continues in the quarterfinal round Wednesday on TBS and Saturday on TNT.